Oh.
He's taking the opportunity now that Victoria's a little less COVID to take off and go on a trip. So, which is lucky for her. We just wait for a few of the participants to come in. They're coming in now, but I'll play a bit of happy music in the background since it's end of final. If it plays, it's not going to play. Obviously.
Hopefully, it's from Tim's band. That'd be great.
Tim's band.
Bit of funk.
Yeah.
Have you got a band, Tim?
Yep.
Yeah. Is it your own band? Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that the music you play each time?
No, that's Corey Wong. He's my favourite muso at the moment.
I was going to say, geez, it's your band's quality.
Yeah.
It is quality. You'll hear us one of these days.
Yeah. Can everyone? I see some. I think Alora or someone. Or in the chat. Yeah. So I think we're pretty close and ready to start. Yeah. Well, so what instrument do you play? Drums, Tim?
Drums. Yep.
Okay. I played guitar for a long time when I was at school and played in a band, but it was quite. It wasn't bluesy, but it was quite heavy. I had a strong influence from Metallica and Slayer and a few of those.
Well, my favourite bands are Van Halen. So,
is it? Excellent. Yeah. That was sad that Eddie died.
I know. I'm still gutted about that.
Yeah. It was tragic.
Well, you can see I got some guitars in the back there. So.
I saw that, Pete. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
What do you like? What's the style?
Look, kind of into that heavy metal, jazz, bluey stuff as well. Very similar to Michael, actually. But don't play enough anymore to be, to be that good anymore. But
one of the most underrated guitarists of all time is Steve Lukather from Toto. He can play anything, the heavy stuff, the bluesy stuff, and he's played on just about every hit record over the years as a session muso.
Yeah.
Well, one of the most iconic songs of all time too, Africa.
Yeah,
It's good actually.
On you guys, I'm just a lowly old DJ that keeps the crowds pumping. So.
Yeah. It's good. We actually got a few people in the chat saying that they play guitar as well. So Josh, the others, so that's fantastic. So why don't we jump into it? So thanks everyone for joining us today. I've got a great cast with me today, and we want to do a lot more of these member and user type sessions going forward in the let's say the new financial year. Now it's 30 June. So I've got Tim Munro from Change GPS joining me, Peter Marmara-Stewart from PCR, Grant Abbott, and obviously myself from I Love Accounting and Light Year Doc. So Grant's joined us today. Shannon was going to join us. She's Shannon Smit from Smart Business Solutions. She's actually traveling. She's a Change GPS user as well as a Light Year Docs user, isn't she, Tim?
She sure is, yeah.
And she's got a great accounting practice down in Victoria. She's actually traveling, taking an opportunity, I think, with a little less COVID down in Victoria and taking off for end of financial year to have a few days away. So she contacted me before and said she can jump on, but I said, no, that's fine. We'll push ahead. So looking forward to that. This is a bit of a fun session. So make sure everyone who's on chat, make sure you jump on and join in with us. Make sure it's to not only all panelists, but all attendees, and we'll man it as we're going through, as we're just chatting about a few things. So end of financial year, I'm finding it's always chaotic. I don't know about you guys, but it's almost like toilet paper and meat at the moment. The people, it's almost it's the last day of the year, and people are feeling like they need to. The world's ending.
It's quite interesting, actually. I think having a look at what we did a few years ago, there's a huge rush of companies set up, and particularly anyone who's even remotely considering, doing startups or getting ESIC funding. It's vital to get that company in this year, because next year when you go for your funding, you can actually show your ESIC. So there's lots and lots going on, which is pretty exciting. But I would say, as for tomorrow, that's when all the structures are going to be set up. The new SMSFs, the new trusts, all of that, because you obviously want to get them in, get to the ABN, TFN, and get these family protection trusts rocking and rolling.
Yeah, it's definitely chaotic for us usually this time of the year, and we've been running around updating deeds and things like that for super funds, as well as setting up a few new ones.
Yeah, I should just do a shout out. Sorry, I'm not going to hog it all, but obviously with Peter, before everyone was on, we were talking about the NTAA SMSF deed, and Peter's gone in and ripped it to shreds. Yesterday, we're going to like a really hardcore session. I was going with one of our accountants advisors saying, well, why would a lawyer write it like this, or what's going on here? And, going in and checking whether there's duties, etc. So I think, Tim, you actually spawned a super deed awareness that suddenly everyone is going in and saying, well, it's probably lifted the cap off everything and saying, well, lawyers probably don't really know much about trusts or about SMSFs. So how, that they're, sending us out this sort of stuff, and it can be absolute rubbish. So I think that's absolutely crucial that you did well by opening that can of worms, but now it's all open for everyone to see.
That was the whole point of it, Grant. As we were doing our work with yourself and Michael from Lightyear Docs, and we're looking at the quality of your docs and the thinking process that went in, like, the leading member approach and the building succession, I love. And that made us go back and look at all the other docs that were, in our systems that clients have been using. And there's a lot of stuff in there that just doesn't make sense. And it's like it's been written by people that haven't really thought through the big picture. Yeah. And if you don't get the big picture right, there's no point in running with it. And that's why it's about 6 months ago I came up with the idea of Deed Awareness Week. Let's do it, early June. Let's make everyone aware of it. And it was just a smashing success. We had, probably 1,000 people that weren't Change CPS members that are continually talking to us now saying that was the best thing. It just made us aware of what to look at. And now everyone's reading the deeds. And now everyone's getting concerned. Just like Pete, he's reading the NTAA, go, holy crap, like this doesn't, what if contribution, the NTAA deed apparently has a limit in the contributions, you can't exceed the cap. That's ridiculous, So what's that going to, is it going to trigger audit problems and all the rest of it? That's a badly drafted deed. So I think accountants, this is your responsibility. With deeds you've recommended in the past, or clients, when you bring them on board, look at them, check them out. And we're just going through the process right now of upgrading every single one of our deeds to the Lightyear Docs ones, storing all the information on BGL so we know when we've updated them all. And that's it. If you're going to be a client of Change Accountants and Advisors, this is the way it needs to be done. You need to have your trust distribution resolutions, your FBT returns, you need to do your tax planning. We need to update all your deeds. That's it, one way. And if you don't want that, you won't be a client. We won't take you on.
And isn't it a much more streamlined, efficient process when you have that as well, Tim? So, you have your deeds upgrade. You've got, especially when you're doing your trust deed district resolutions and everything, you're not dealing with 80 or 60 different deeds. And
well, you don't have to go and read every single deed because you know what's in it. You know what's in one deed, and you can just smash them all out. It's so much better. And not just that, but it's accountants fully focus on tax all the time. But I love Grant's approach, like where it's asset protection and estate planning and tax all blended in the one. We need everything done at once. So no point having a deed with some dodgy appointer or beneficiary, or something goes wrong with mum or dad, control is lost. That's ridiculous. And that's why my big thing for the smart accountants is there's a great opportunity when you outline it to your clients how you can improve the situation and give them more asset protection and certainty. Clients love it. They'll pay whatever it costs. Great opportunities for accountants to help their clients.
Yeah, certainly in the SAPEPAA course that we're coming up, the 19th, I'll be going through some trust deeds that we've got. Maybe, Pete, if you want to send me that SMSF deed, and we'll pull it through from estate planning, asset protection. But I'm also going to I've got maybe 3 or 4 wills that I've got for you guys to look at that, they've been drafted by quality lawyers, and we're going to tear the shreds out of them. I'll show you how I look at it and just shake my head. But I, we'll go through all those skills to enable you to look at wills or an EPOA or advanced healthcare directive or anything for that matter, and pull it to pieces so that you're going to be well and truly above their scale or their skill level.
Yeah, really looking forward to that actually in a couple of weeks, Grant. I think that's actually probably one of the bigger opportunities going forward for us is to be able to do, as Tim said, basically all of it. And to me, it's just asset protection always comes first before tax minimisation.
Yeah.
That's what I tell clients. Thankfully, for the most part, they line up pretty well, but not always. But I'll always choose asset protection first.
Yeah.
That's important.
It's up to us as accountants to help our clients to understand this, because so many clients, it's just about getting the tax down. And that's great. You can get the tax down, but if you haven't got the asset protection, you lose 100%. It's not losing 47% of income. It's 100% of assets, Gonski.
Yeah.
So that's the way to explain it, accountants.
That's the ultimate tax minimisation, just lose all your wealth.
100% of assets, not 47% of income.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I point out. You don't, you lose, if something goes wrong, you lose 100%. So, just cop the bit extra and protect your assets.
That's right. And so it's better to be able to, I like telling people, wouldn't you prefer to be able to sleep at night and wake up and not have to worry about it? And then concentrate on what you're good at?
Yeah.
And Michael, that's what I've been talking about for a while in our business and with GPS members, de-risking your accounting firm. And that's why we're in a process that we're still working through it. Just like you, we want to sleep at night. We don't want to worry about stuff. We don't want our clients worrying. So as accountants, how can you de-risk your business? Get your estate planning sorted out, get your successor director documents all done. I'm still just tweaking the final touches to updating mine. I think I made 3 changes to my rules over the last 6 months, updating them again, just getting it all right. Working on some funky stuff, Grant.
There's nothing wrong with that system, and that's the beauty about the system, is you can relaunch, because as you go down the track, it's just ridiculous to think that if you've done a will 4 or 5 years ago that's still valid. It's not. Things change. It's the very nature of us is really we're guiding people's families. So I think it's beyond what the family offices are, which are really just structuring and legals and all that. Now we're getting very close to our clients to find out who the bad sheep are, who the drug addicts are. Telling the clients, and it's quite brutal to look, if you believe that you're going to get separated from your spouse, come and see me straight away, because we need to put in corrective and protective action straight away. There might not be much you can do, but at least you can boot them out as a beneficiary from a family trust, get rid of them from the superannuation fund, just take them away from all forms of control. Because you have a look at the reverse side is, and I'm sure you guys have seen it as well, that once you're over age 50, a lot of spouses leave. Once the kids are off the hand, the spouses leave. They take 50 or 60% of the assets, and you're off and running. And how many accountants have set up their asset protection structure, putting all their assets in their wife's name? That's just like you're shot to pieces, because if your wife leaves you and she's got all the bank accounts, everything, what sort of negotiation position are you in that sort of scenario? You're going to have to beg for money. And it's just a crazy old school asset protection, and certainly there's far better mechanisms out there now.
Yeah, and I think pointing on what Tim said about updating, it shouldn't be a set and forget mentality, should it? Should be effectively, I know you use the term from the US grant, living will, and it's almost like that. These are living documents, and it's important that you sit down with your clients and in your own position and be reviewing them on a constant basis, because things change. But it's also interesting talking about marriage breakdowns. I know I've seen it on the accountants Facebook group, but certainly I've had a few clients during COVID. There seems to have been an uptick in divorce during COVID, and I think it's maybe because they've been in lockdown, stuck at home with each other. And, maybe they realise that they don't really love each other as much as they thought.
Yeah. Look, I think we just have to take it for granted, and I'm probably the epitome there. We've got some wonderful people who live lives side by side with their spouse, but some people just turn them over. So yes, I think we need to recognise that it's particularly it's particularly worrisome for a lot of our older clients who've got quite a significant amount of wealth, and they're getting pressure, from their adult children or even the grandchildren, to effectively put in place structures and virtually gifting the money away. And I think there's going to be a really big issue over the next 20, 30 years. And this is why it's absolutely crucial for us. There's going to be so much pressure put on grandparents to, give the money away now before they die, because that millennial or that, and to a less extent Gen X, a lot of money is tied up in the older generation because they were in there first. So it'll be interesting to see how that one plays out.
Definitely. And I think it'll be really interesting actually around that gifting to see how many end up providing gifts to help, the millennials and Gen X's, or Gen Z.
Gen Z.
Yeah, the youngest ones coming through to get, to help buy property and things like that too, because considering where property prices and that are, especially for Melbourne and Sydney, they'll be looking to use the equity.
Everywhere these days, it's just crazy.
I read overnight that Byron has now taken over Sydney and property prices.
Yeah, I wouldn't live in Byron. It's talk about, it used to be good maybe 10, 15 years ago, but now it's just too chaotic. Like, there's only one road in and one road out. So once you get in there, it's always just in a full-on traffic jam. It's crazy.
Well, you can catch the train as well now they've got, but staying at the resort.
Perfect.
Yeah. Well, let's jump into some of the slides. Like, I'm looking forward to some of the stuff, some of the topics we can talk about and throw off each other. I won't go through all of these, which I normally go through. I will talk about this quickly because my last fortnight ago, we hadn't won. I Love Accounting hadn't won an Australian Accounting Award, but I am in lockdown quarantine due to it because I went to a couple of exposure sites, unfortunately in the CBD. And although I'm due to get out on Friday, Queensland's in lockdown in any case, so everyone's come to join me. So it was a great night. I saw David Boyer from Change GPS down there. He actually said I did one of the funnier moments of the night. We unfortunately, Grant and Ash and a few others couldn't make it down there, so we because of COVID. So the table I was at, there was a couple of nice guys who I'm now referring on to Light Year Docs, and we'll speak to them about Change GPS and a few other things. I own a Sydney practice, and they were the CEO and COO there. And I said to them after a couple of drinks, I said, if we win, why don't you come up on stage with me? So then my executive team looks a lot better, so bigger. So I actually did my speech and I said, look, it was great to have my executive team. And I got a couple of texts from people who were at the awards, and they said, I didn't know those guys worked for you.
Exactly.
So Nose took them up on stage with me as part of the
That's great.
presentation, which was quite funny. So yeah, today's webinar, we're just going to go through, what this end of financial year mean to everyone. What are the opportunities and we're targeting? Talking about a few things. I know Grant wants to talk a bit more about SAPEPAA and everything, and any events we're doing. Well, we had planned an event with our team, but I've had to cancel it today, unfortunately. So everyone wasn't keen to go. Well, we're not an essential business, and everyone wasn't keen to go out for drinks, and I couldn't. And number one, I couldn't attend with them. So we've pushed it out, unfortunately. But so the first one, what planning, if any, goes into the new financial year? And I'll throw it around to everyone. I mean, it feels like we've just gone through tax planning season, but what other planning do people do around resources, projects? Well, that says interval, but should be internal and external and other. So, I mean, I've got a number of external projects I'm looking at on, and it'd be interesting to hear what's on the horizon. I mean, in terms of Change GPS, obviously, Grant, we've got Light Year Docs 2.0 building in the background, and it looks fantastic. I was on a few of the development team meetings yesterday and seeing some of the things that have come out, and I can't wait to release that. We've got some exciting stuff in relation to improving our traction around the country in terms of sales and everything, and obviously we've got SAPEPAA. So what about Light Year Docs 2.0, Grant? Are you excited about that as I am?
Yeah, look, I must admit, so the original one came out, when I got out of Now Infinity, I could have easily sat on my laurels, but I just knew that I'd started at Now Infinity probably around about 2013, I think, or 14, trying to build multiple document strategies all into one interview. And we did do it there once, but it took about 6 to 9 months. And unfortunately, originally when we were building Now Infinity, we had a choice of either going to hot docs or building it right from the start. And we had Vitaly on there, and he and his team actually built it from the start, from the ground up. The problem about that is it gets very buggy. And Hot Docs was great. We had a couple of little hiccups with it, but because it's a 20-year-old platform and really doesn't have a huge amount of support, it means we're really stretching the limit, really, for any legal firm, and you guys virtually are. Exactly, you're using our like the Abbott and Morley precedents that we use, the Abbott and Morley system that we use. The problem is it just doesn't have any integration. So, for the last year and a half, we've been in a sandbox with ASIC's new company establishment system that really no one else has gone on to, because it's quite a big change. But we've had that in the background, but we just haven't been able to deploy it because Hot Docs just isn't strong and stable enough. So for those of you who use the Moat and Castle, I put in the advanced healthcare directives in there, and it blew the whole thing up. So we had to go back and rebuild the new template. But where I want to take Lightyear Docs 2 from my perspective is that it'll be completely different style, that you'll set up a folder for your clients inside Lightyear Docs 2. We'll have all the clients' details, their companies, stuff, whether it's pulled from XPM or wherever. And then virtually every document on the system will be sitting in that client folder. So whether you use it or not, it's not going to be an issue, so that you'll be able to get the data from one document and it'll just feed directly over the other documents, so that, you'll be able to just create documents on the fly. If there's changes, be able to go in and make changes. So I see that as one. I think that's probably the biggest one. The other one that I'm really excited about, particularly around this legal services space, is that effectively you'll be able to send out under your own badge a digital data capture. The client will complete that data capture. You'll then get notified, because all those fields will actually be filled within the Lightyear Docs 2 system. So virtually the client is creating the documents and you're not having to do anything. So I think that if we get down to that track, that's going to be really exciting opportunity there as well. So I see, and you've probably got a few ideas as well, Michael, from what you've seen, but it's certainly going to change the way that this industry is going forward.
Yeah, definitely. I really like the member portal we've got that's rolling out with it and everything, and just the way we can service and support everyone going forward. We get a lot of fantastic feedback in relation to our service support, and we actually have just hired, we're about to send offers out today for 2 new staff that will help further our team as well. So it's quite exciting where it's all going and headed. So what about you, Peter? In terms of what planning do you do for next financial year? Do you do any resources is one area I know the accounting industry is sort of struggling in, and there's been a lot of press in relation to the Big Four coming in and swooping in and taking staff and offering large sum remuneration packages and taking them from small and mid-tier firms. I don't know if you and Tim have noticed that, but I know that I've seen a bit of commentary around it. Definitely was in the Fin Review, and there has been a bit of discussions on Facebook groups around it.
Yeah, look, the Mike, for us, the planning's really kind of starts happening now. Reality is we kind of plan throughout the year as well. We're constantly looking at what we're doing, what we can look to improve, and what we need to keep on doing.
Yes,
and, adjust things as we go along. But we really work through our kind of planning in terms of when we're getting client information, when we're actually completing returns. So scheduling for clients, we really organise that in the first month of the financial year. Make sure that clients are aware when we want to get things.
And so you actually do that. You schedule in calendar and say, okay, we're going to do your work in September, or we're going to, and then you send out obviously information requests and everything. And do they have to meet those deadlines, and you have to meet those deadlines and stuff?
Well,
like that?
we do our best to do it on both ends, but clients are clients, right? And sometimes they can be a bit lax in providing information, which I'm sure every every accountant has plenty of clients where you just have to chase them up quite a bit. But look, we're usually pretty good with it. But we're also going to be focusing on, looking at updating all the deeds, company constitutions, implementing Change GPS properly, because we've changed GPS members as well. And there's a few tools there that really want the team to, bed down and use consistently within what we do as well. So that's what our next month's probably going to be looking like. So yeah.
I think that's a pretty valid point too. I mean, I've just recently started using Change GPS and not just Change GPS, but other tools as well. It's really important that you do bed them down and you start utilizing them and getting the real value out of them. And I can see so much. I see value in Light Your Docs. I see so much value in Change GPS as well. But it's about you actually achieving that value as well, isn't it? So thoughts on all of that, Tim, and what you do around planning?
Well, we're in the middle of a big planning process. Like what Peter just said, we've got a really extensive spreadsheet system that we've been using just to set up all of our workflow for the next 12 months and monitor how each fee earners do each month. So we don't charge by timesheets. Everything is charged up front. We've been using Go Proposal. Now we're using Change GPS Engage to engage all of our clients and sign off on fixed prices. But we still need to monitor getting the invoices out. And I want to make certain that each accountant in my team is getting 3 times their packaging, and then we can give bonuses and go from there. So what we're actually about to do, actually I haven't told my team this, but they're going to be finding out tomorrow when I send them a video, is we've been using Carbon. Carbon's great for practice management, but I'm going to get everyone to start recording where they've spent their time throughout the day. Now, we're not using that to charge clients, but because everyone's out of the office and we've got people down the Gold Coast, accountants up the sunny coast, accountants up north further and in Brisbane, and most are working from home still. We're moving to a new office in our same building, level 10, in August. I reckon we'll be in the office 2 days a week, home 3 days a week.
And that new office looks amazing too, Tim.
Yeah, I gave you a bit of a sneak. So we'll have a new office party. I think David Boy wants to do a how you can set up an office and things like that once you do that. Yeah, but just I need to be able to monitor with different people working on the jobs. And for example, if there's a $5,000 job, the accountant gets 85%. I think the reviewer gets 10% and the admin team gets 5% of that job. So if there's time spent by one of our younger accountants and then it's reviewed, I need to know where the blowouts are. I need to know, we might have quoted 5, but if we do it based on notional hourly rates, to be blowout. And I want to know that every job, and we've got a new document, Change GPS, which we'll go through again in July, like an end of job checklist. I want to know every job, how can we have done it better? If we blew out notionally and it was $6,000 worth of time spent on a $5,000 job, was it the client's fault? Was it our fault? Was it my fault because my accountants weren't trained well enough? So I need to have this data, and unless you have the data, it's hard to do something with it. So we haven't been, I get everyone to report roughly every day on the sort of work that they've done, but I think using the input information in Carbon, just look at your utilisation throughout the day, will make everyone a little bit more aware of what's going on. Then it'll help me to be aware on a weekly basis of who are the star performers, who needs a bit of support, and which clients we need to get rid of, or which clients are great and we need to shower them with love a bit further.
Do you think that's where, accountants sort of struggle with changing, I guess, across the fixed pricing model and how they manage, going from their traditional 6-minute units and doing a time-based cost invoicing system, and then all of a sudden they're fixed price. Well, how do we then work out exactly what you're saying? Have we charged the job right? Have we gone over? Are we being efficient?
We've been tracking that and having a system around tracking what Tim's talking about for, I don't know, quite a while. Like we use Xero Practice Manager at the moment. We're actually transitioning for practice management over to Carbon, and be really keen to. Just like obviously we've got to finish the transition, but Carbon is definitely better. Really looking forward to the fact that they're implementing the time system within it too. That'll be really good. But yeah, we essentially do exactly what Tim says, because we also charge like fixed price as well, and you just need to be able to monitor, are you being profitable on each client, and where are the blowouts, and why is there a blowout? Is it our fault? Is it the client's fault? Who's actually causing that issue, and doing some investigation around that. And then sometimes, maybe the job's just gone bigger than it used to be, and you need to go back to the client and charge more.
Yeah. So how's carbon fit in with, say, like an FY? I know you use FY docs as well, don't you, Tim?
Look, we haven't moved across FYI docs because we moved on to Box in 2015.
Yeah.
And we've got so much in there, it's just working. If we didn't have a document management system, I would choose FYI docs.
Yeah.
But we're already set up and using Box really well. We're using FuseSign for the electronic signatures. So there's no reason for us to move across to FYI.
Yeah.
FYI is great. It's got a lot of automations and things, but sometimes people need that, sometimes they don't. I like a very simplistic approach. With my big thing is not automations and having trigger points go to this, because they're so easy to break, then you've got to fix them. And I think accountants sometimes, automate the hell out of things they don't need. I'd rather put my time into my upfront with the client, helping them to understand the value in what we're doing, and then deliver it based on that. So it's a more, using tech, but with the old school approach to assisting clients, which is what they really like. Clients just don't want a digital approach. That they want I always say I do my best work taking clients to lunch, have a steak and a bottle of red, and clients just love you.
Oh, 100%. I mean, there's so much value, and it's not fun. It's interesting you said that. When I had a CFO role in an ASX listed company, I had a management accountant I employed. He was a younger guy, and he decided he wanted to rebuild all the management reporting through Excel and automate the whole process. And he created this amazing book that, and it was effectively just press a button at the end of the month. And when he first showed me, and then he showed me the reports, and I said, well, they're not right. He's going, well, they must be right. I'm going, I can tell within 30 seconds. I said, mate, the balance sheet P&L, I can tell you it's not right. And he argued to me till he's black in the face. And I'm going blue and black. And I go, well, mate, I can tell you. That's why you need to still understand the numbers, and you've got to understand the color behind the numbers. You can automate as much as you want, but
and that's a problem I think with a lot of younger ones coming through in the accounting industry today. I remember when I was growing up, when I set up in 1990, we used the DOS version of Handy Ledger, and you could make, like, if you're a good accountant, you use journals and stuff, you can make those financials sing. Every little bit. If there's an accrual or something, or you know how to make a P&L on a balance sheet interrelate and talk. And you straight away, you can look at any set of financials and you know if something's not right. But a lot of young accountants these days, they have no idea about that sort of stuff because they haven't spent enough time getting their hands dirty using Xero on the financials and seeing the ramifications of different journal entries and how things work. And it frustrates me that everyone just wants to move on to the next big thing and be paid $100,000, and that's what the market is saying they're worth. And let me tell you, like all these, I can see accountants sometimes go from firm to firm, and each time they're going, and financial planners, and they're putting their price up as they say the market's worth it. Mate, they're not worth 50. If you're not bringing in 3 times your package and improving and going from there, forget it. And yet. So, but what happens to us? We get, I'm going to go on a soapbox here. We get these recruitment agencies. They jump on LinkedIn, they troll through your firm, and they make your accountants feel like you, as a business owner, are underpaying them and underappreciating them, and the grass is greener elsewhere. And they go to another job and they can't cut it. Guess who's under pressure? The poor accountant. Listen to this stupid recruitment person.
Yeah. Well, the recruitment industry is very. It always has been. I mean, it's commission based, and it's just. To me, it just doesn't stand the test of time, and we're getting a lot of this stuff. It's quite interesting when you're talking about the bottle of red wine. I saw Jane talking about clients want to be loved. Really, we're getting to that new stage of advisor or accountants. Is that we've got that part of us that are really the hardcore numbers. We love our spreadsheets. We love looking at some financials, pulling it to pieces, and all that. But then the really big players that I see in the next 10 to 15, 20 years are the ones who are going to be the more emotional side, the empathetic side, the ones who can, sit down with their clients over a bottle of red or the families and listen to those family stories, because I try and glean as much as I can out of the family stories, because everything I know about the family enables me to build strategies around it.
Yeah.
And that's, I know where the weaknesses are in their families. I know whether to give Johnny a pension or a testamentary trust versus lump sums. And that's golden information that a lawyer, an accountant generally won't do, because they're so fussed up with the numbers. Now, not all accountants are going to make it there. But, I can see from all the ones on this call and the ones that we're dealing with at Lightyear Docs that there is that clarion call for that emotional side. And, when it's asset protection, it's not asset protection just for that. It's actually protecting a family and their wealth and generations to come. And that can make a huge difference. Particularly, you have a look at all the major, you have a look at some of the major wealth in Australia, and just have a look at the Packers. Frank made it, Kerry elaborated on it, and then you've got James who's virtually thrown it down the toilet or given away to Mariah Carey or somewhere, and the Murdochs probably aren't that much better anyway. So that's a fear in all those families. But again, that's where I believe that we as an industry should be moving to, because no one else is doing it. So why wouldn't we be doing it?
We're the logical ones, Grant, because we understand our clients best.
Yeah.
And look, tax and all that sort of stuff is the number one thing accountants do, but this is putting on the bigger picture. Accountants, what are you most excited about, everyone listening here today? I mean, doing your tax return, getting a tax refund, or would you be more excited about growing your business so it's worth more, so you can actually sell it, so you can buy that Ferrari, so you can have that holiday when you can holiday again, or whatever? They're the bigger picture things. And if that's what you want, that's what your clients want. Don't just get hung up on all I need to do is tax and BAS. What do you reckon, Peter?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is the thing. It's just, that's what clients want. And when I think accountants are in the prime position because we have all the data. The thing is, we collect it all off our clients, and when something goes wrong, usually clients come to us first as well. So accountants are still hold that number one trusted position, right? And I think having huge opportunities like the SAPEPAA accreditation, because part of the issue you have sometimes when you're speaking to clients about estate planning and things like that is they might go, well, isn't this a lawyer's job? But once we've got the SAPEPAA accreditation, we'll be able to go, well, it is, but we're actually accredited because we're specialists in this area as well. So, but yeah, I think we're absolutely 100% in the driver's seat for being able to do that and assist clients.
Yeah. Look, you're right. Accountants are the only ones with all of the data. Seriously, there's no one else. The lawyers don't have the data. The financial planners don't have that. We are the only ones. This is pure gold, not just to make money. And again, to throw it out there, accountants, do not feel bad about making money. Get some entrepreneurial spirit in you, for goodness sake. You are here to make money for you and your business and for your family. You've got a business, you want to grow it. Be proud of that. Don't think you're just trying to flog things off to your clients. If that's what you think, you shouldn't be in this business, because you're undervaluing yourself. If you think you can help your mum and dads to protect the assets, do all the bits and pieces that's on this slide and other things, seriously, get out there and do it and make millions of dollars. Because if you make millions, you're saving hundreds of millions for your clients.
Exactly.
Yeah. I always like to say the money you make is usually an indicator of the amount of people you're helping.
Yeah, definitely.
So the more you make, the more people you're helping.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And if you're not making it,
at the end of the day, sorry to jump in, tax, from where, I came from, the old slutskin schemes and, all the old crazy ones and the super funds that were, the cherry pickers and all that, things have changed quite considerably. And, you guys would have seen that with your clients at 30 June, apart from super and going over the caps and all that, there's really not much you can do to reduce your clients' tax, because you're virtually paying tax on a quarterly basis now. or a weekly or annually, fortnightly if you're in the PAYG system. So it's just getting harder and harder. So it has to be, one is that there's a certain element you can go to. The second side is, again, that emotional side is, that asset protection, the estate planning. I can tell you, inside your clients, every one of them needs, a protector. Every one of them needs an estate plan. And you'd be shocked, if you send out letters to your clients and say, look, we've teamed up with Abbott-Family, we're doing estate planning now, blah, blah, blah. How many clients would actually start to come to you? And it's great.
Love it.
Yeah, it's great business. And it's good. The good thing is, a lot of it's automated and it's high level, that you guys can do the documents yourself. You don't need to pass it down to juniors. Juniors can do the companies and stuff like that. But honestly, build a leading member trust, you can do that in seconds with a client, and you can pump it out, send it to their phone, get them to digitally sign it. You're off and running. So, it's a new way of the world for us, which also means that, we're in a lot more control.
Yeah, it's certainly untapped. I mean, book, isn't it, in terms of all of that?
Yeah, look, I agree.
I was going to say, Grant.
Sorry.
I was going to say, Grant, I actually did a Constitution leading SMSF update. You've got that as a strategy automation.
Yeah.
It took me about 2 minutes last night.
I know, it's crazy, isn't it? So,
great.
I mean, one of the new things that we're doing with the Lightyear Docs too is having that annual update for SMSF. So once you get the platform on, because the hard thing about our system, and I'm sure many of you have probably found, you'll go into relaunch your program and you go, what the hell's going on? There's like 2 or 3 extra features there. And that's because you guys come to us and say, oh, wouldn't it be good if we had, like, for example, Tim said, well, not every client wants to have, primary or secondary beneficiaries. They just want to go all to a testamentary trust. So within a week, we had it built up. And then someone said, well, our clients just want to put down some reasons why they're leaving Johnny out of the will or not giving them enough. So it's like, well, yeah, that sounds a good idea. Why don't we put that in there? So there's continual upgrading of the system, because essentially you guys are at the coalface. You're coming back with coalface feedback from your clients that then makes that product a lot better, which then enhances it for you. Because if you have a look at our basic will, so-called basic, there's not I can guarantee you go through where most lawyers get their precedents, LexisNexis or Thomson Reuters. There's nothing like it on the marketplace, nothing at all. So you've got a very unique position there, and it'll just continue to grow. So I just see it's so exciting where we're going to as an industry from where we've been. But it's the same way, things change. If you went back 30 years ago, and I remember when we went from the ATO assessing to self-assessment, everyone just said, look, it's not going to work, not at all. It's an absolute joke. It's terrible and all that. But effectively now the accountants are actually doing the government's work for them. So it's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. John Stitt's got a comment there about 12 columns on it, spreadsheet and stuff, and learning it and putting stuff into perspective. I remember the old T accounts that I used to do and everything, and it actually, it's amazing how much it taught you going through that process compared to what some of the younger accountants understand about balance sheets and P&L and everything. So,
yeah, I never had to do T accounts at the actual office, guys.
John, no, I never had to do them at the office. I did them at uni.
Yeah, I had to do it at uni.
Yeah.
But not in the office.
Yeah, I think we've sort of covered off a lot of those points there, and in the last slide and everything we were talking about estate planning, target clients, and I mean, any of you guys looking at technology, I mean, increasing in apps or different ways of marketing, we've started doing a bit of SEO and SEM and Google AdWords, and it's amazing. It only kicked off 24 hours ago, and we received 3 extremely, the first 3 leads have been 100% sales and leads, which has been fantastic because I wasn't expecting that. But we are using top 3 top 3 Google company in Australasia to do it. So I have been quite impressed with the process so far. So it's certainly not cheap, but it's I mean, for cost to lead and actually turning them into sale is fantastic from so far.
Yep. Well, I know with our marketing, we'll continue doing what we've been doing, which is actually building out our SEO and building out our content on a regular basis, which has actually worked. Getting organic. We haven't turned on Google AdWords as we've actually been getting sufficient new clients coming in at the moment, so which has been fantastic. Yeah, so I don't know about you, Tim.
Yeah, we haven't really been focusing on any SEO or anything like that. We're about to upgrade our Change Accounts website to get a brand new website, and then we'll start playing around a bit. I've been taking a different approach with marketing. Like we've got a lot of new clients in, and we're growing quite well. And I suppose wearing the 2 hats, Change Accounts and Change GPS, both keep me pretty busy. You know, swing from one to the other. But for getting new clients in, you know, I like Formula One. I like cars. So you know, I had a certain car a while ago, and with that, I've basically got to know the dealer of this luxury car yard very well, and he started referring clients through. And I've got the biggest client we've got, probably, well, the biggest client that we've got at the moment, we're probably doing compliance fees of about 450,000 a year. Yep. And that's just because of the referral from having the car. So yeah, I just like doing things like that. And at the moment, I've kind of, you know, switched to another car, and I will start to work through that referral network as well. So it's a different approach. It doesn't work for everyone. I say to accountants, find what you have a passion for, and just immerse yourself in that. It might be, look, you might like gardening, you might like motorbikes, you might like travel, you might like fine wines. You will find clients with a similar like, and these will be good quality clients that want to pay for good advice. So find don't copy me, just do but copy the approach. You know, and so
I'd agree, Tim. Like, I mean, I love golf.
Golf.
Yeah, and I've got a membership. My golf membership is, I won't disclose how much it costs, but I'm certainly at the best golf course on the Gold Coast, and it's a private course, and the same thing. I mean, I see value in the membership, and I do meet a lot of people, and I mean. Mark Burris is a member. Cameron Smith's just joined from the Melbourne Storm. Fatty Borton's there. There's, you know, Adam Scott. And there are a lot of cars from the car yards that you're talking about, Tim, there. And but it's amazing. They're all wonderful people. And like I've had to build up. I've been there 6 years now, but it's not a matter of going in and doing a big sales pitch or anything. It's
getting to know them.
Becoming friends with them, and we are getting referrals from that, and we have done some work for some of them, and it just builds momentum, and it's making sure you look after them and do the right thing, obviously. And then,
so your golf club membership, effectively, you wouldn't be claiming it, but it's like what I'm paying on my car repayments. That's my marketing. That's my spend, and I've got like from the last car I had. The payoff on that was like triple to quadruple, and I'm expecting the same sort of thing again. It just goes. Not a lot of accountants would get that, because I probably think, why would you want to spend that on a car? And I'm looking, this is the best marketing spend, not tax deductible, that I could ever have.
Yeah.
Well, it'd be good if you claim the instant asset write-off on it, but
you unfortunately got the limit there, Michael.
No, that's right.
Exactly. That's probably a couple of Tim's tyres, actually.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you know, love cars myself, Tim. So
awesome.
You've got a bit of a collection, haven't you, Peter?
Yeah, I do. One for each day of the week. So
good on you. Yeah, and look, it's funny. I mean, a lot of accountants in the past would go, "Oh, look, I could never drive up to a client's place in a good car. They'd think I'm charging too much," and that's just. I'm going to say that's retarded thinking. Like the clients that I've been getting recently, I've scored a couple of new clients because one person told another, "Hey, Tim's awesome, and he drives this car. You know, if he can afford that, he must be a good accountant." So I'm picking up clients because of the respect you get for that. That's the positive way of looking at things, not the negative. So the accountants that are negative, they look at, don't buy change GPS. It costs too much. A lot of your docs cost. They focus on cost rather than focusing on investment. It helps you to make, you'll be able to make 10 times what you pay in GPS and light year docs easily if you use it the way we all show you in the webinar. So like, get out there, be proud. Like, you've got to spend your money before you die. If cars are your thing, buy a nice car, enjoy driving around, and be proud about it when you drive up to your client's premises. It gives you something to talk about. And you know what? Every client I talk to, they go, oh, I wish I could, you know, I'd love to do that. And I say, you know what? We're going to do a drive day. We had McLaren do a drive day. We took 10 clients. Cost us nothing. McLaren Australia provided all the cars. How good was that? And so you can develop relationships with people and you have a bit of fun.
Yeah, that's a fantastic idea.
Might steal that idea, Tim, I reckon.
Definitely. Let us know when you're doing it. Send photos. I'll swap you. That's good, yeah.
I'll just jump on the next one. I mean, this is where Grant, I mean, you'll come to the front here, but obviously SAPEPAA, we've got the course coming up. Can't wait for it to become accredited. It's such a great association. I mean, we've talked, I mean, Tim's obviously on the board, and one of the areas we've talked about are obstacles our profession faces and where we can actually make a difference and try and become a bit of a voice. We've talked about things such as the accountants' letters and a few other things at board meetings, but we'll be focusing on some of those areas. But obviously, SAPEPAA with the training course and everything. Grant, do you want to add to?
Yeah, look, I saw it way back in when I first started SMSFs. I think I went full tilt on it in 1995 when I was at Rothschild and did the first ever video, can you believe, of SMSFs in those days. And I swung my full weight behind it in 1998. I could see where it was going, the opportunity there. But again, a lot of accountants were involved from a tax point of view, which was fantastic. And then obviously the unit trust changes were made in 1998. And a lot of accountants dropped out of the system as they did in 2004 and later on when the accountants exemption dropped out. And, in the old days, you could virtually do everything in an SMSF and things change. But I could see that in order to have an industry, you actually need to have an association. It's not a chicken and egg. Like you can set up an association. You can say you've got an industry, but unless you've got an association to represent you, there is no industry. So it worked with SMSFs when we set up the SMSF Professionals Association, which is now the SMSF Association. And they're quite, they're the regulatory body for that across Australia, or not the regulatory, but certainly the go-to body for it. And the same thing here with this succession, asset protection, estate planning. There's a legal group called STEP, which goes around the world, but really they focus more not on that trust side, they focus more on the estate planning side. So this is a brand new area, and it is quite new. It's very emotional area, as I said before. Just then, I just got a notification from Tony that South Australia is making changes to their Succession Act to make it a lot harder for former spouses and potentially de factos who've been in, broken away from their partners to make family provisions claims. So that's the sort of stuff that we need to be on top of all the time. So, I think it's a really good area. And now we've got the association. So we've set it up. It's a not-for-profit. The website will be out. We've got a website up. And for those who haven't expressed your interest, express your interest. The next phase is obviously going to be this course. We've got other universities looking at doing courses as well. And then foundation membership will come out. So instead of rushing out there, we're just going to do a really good, strong approach and make sure that we're there. I mean, for example, the classic one for us is the 6-member SMSF. I mean, when you have a look at the power of a self-managed superannuation fund in terms of asset protection, you have a look at it in terms of tax consequences, and now you can put in the family group, which is absolutely crucial. So a leading member SMSF is now de rigueur for most of our clients' perspective, while every other accountant is just freaking out because, oh no, it's going to be too much admin and how do I work this out? In fact, it just blends perfectly in with all of our strategies and just enhances it. But that's because we're coming from a position of knowledge. And I would encourage all of you that One is that obviously get your accreditation, become certified, but more importantly, ensure that your whole firm has that depth of knowledge in it, so that, you know, if there is a session on family provisions claim, there is a session on this, you know, get your staff to sit down, and particularly the advising staff, so they're recognising what the issues are, or what the problems, or what the potentialities are. And I love what Tim's saying, is that, you know, you should have at least, you should bring in 3 times your salary package with all the add-on cost, just to make sure that you're a member of the firm. And then, you know, having those bonuses, but if they can recognise it and help to start to build it, it gives them a great career path. Because this is look, every one of your clients needs your help. You know, there's no one who doesn't need your help, which is fantastic. As opposed to where I came from, SMSFs, there's only a certain amount of people who, you know, really SMSFs are suited for, but everyone is suited for SAPEPAA, everyone. Even if you die with a $10,000 estate, I can tell you someone is going to be fighting for it.
Look, most people have, even if they haven't got much equity, they might have a couple $100,000 as a minimum as life cover in their industry super fund. So, I mean, people that say they don't have anything, even younger clients, everyone's got some level of life cover. And I've got some clients that might have almost nothing in home equity, but they've got $2 million of life cover each for mum and dad because of looking after their kids. So these are substantial assets that we've got to remember do exist. And actually, we're going to be doing an event coming up in a couple of weeks' time. Grant will get you on, and Michael as well. I was just talking with David Boyer yesterday, just helping accountants to realise how much their clients really do have in wealth.
Oh, definitely. Well, it's. I think we miss it. I mean, you know, we were talking about it before about being priced out of the marketplace, but when you have a look at Sydney, Melbourne, even Adelaide, there was a 6-figure house sold in Adelaide, a 7-figure, house sold in Adelaide just recently. There's a lot of equity that is wrapped up in people's property, and that it will only exacerbate as they get older. And as a consequence of that, there's huge, you know, asset protection issues there for them, and that's absolutely crucial, because we just don't know what's going to be around the corner.
It's interesting. John was just saying, I mean, we were talking, having a chat about fines and stuff in Queensland, John. If the car's owned by an entity, so a company or other entity, then it's a higher fine, but there's no points unless you nominate, just to clarify, unless you nominate a driver to take that fine, and effectively they get issued points then. But if you've got a points issue, which I have certainly had in the past, then you can pay the high fine and be retained in the company.
Yeah, and that keeps your insurance price down as well.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, so it's a double whammy. So which is fantastic.
My biggest client, he's got we've set him up with a family protection trust as a car owning entity. So he's got multiple vehicles in that entity. Yeah, it's a great way to go. So if anyone needs any assistance, we might put together a package actually in GPS for high-end people that buy cars and things like that, how to advise them.
Yeah,
I think it's a great idea. So particularly if you're going to get commission, Tim.
Okay, I wanted to do this one. Grant did this with the Lightyear Docs team at the start of the year, but I thought it'd be great with this panel as well. Okay, so just thinking about, so we're now at 30 June 2022. We're 12 months ahead in time. What have you all achieved? What are the top 3 things you have achieved or want to achieve? So throw it to Grant first. I know this will be a great one.
Well, I would say that, you know, if I was here this time next year, you know, SAPEPAA would be up and thriving, would have kicked a few goals and made a bit of noise in areas where the associations, etc., haven't. We've probably got about, you know, 600 to 700 members there. At least 300 have been certified going through the course, and obviously shaking a bit around there. In terms of Lightyear Docs, you know, I know that that's just going to go on to bigger and better things, and you know, the plans that I really want to get in and see what I've got with the new system to build it, and I know that'll go down the track and help around that. On a personal perspective, I just think I've seen a lot in the last couple of years. You know, I had one of my daughters had to go into hospital or for mental health issues, all of this COVID stuff that's going on around the world, there's obviously a higher purpose for it in some way, shape or form. I'm not sure if I know exactly what it is, but at some point in time, we all need to learn to live beyond our fears. And, I think that every day that's coming down, people are saying, well, the quality of life, and we've been blessed here in Australia being an island, but if you're living a life where you're locked down and virtually in prison, that's just not quality of life. And I think that there'll be a breakout there as well for the next year. But it's really homing more people in on their family, which is fantastic. Their family, their friends, their local community. And that really will stand the test of time for all of us. And also I'd like to see, just one other thing is, I know all of our advisors are like your docs, really take it and follow the change GPS system, follow our system, because it's not as if it's, you have to be a rocket scientist to use it. Just use the stuff that works, because the more you use it, the more success you get it, the more the clients are actually going to benefit from it. And then they'll talk, and it's such a beautiful feedback loop. So that's where I'll be. And
definitely, I mean, it's not a matter of just joining up. And as Tim said earlier, it's a matter of jumping on the webinars and actually learning the system. And I know Change GPS has some great webinars. We run some great webinars in relation to utilising the system, not just using the system, but understanding the strategies. A lot of the strategies obviously come from Grant, but and how to put them into actual practice and rolling them out, and also benefit value for not only your client but also for your firm as well. Peter, what are your top three?
Top three? Well, want to get the SAPEPAA thing done and really implement basically for all our clients, getting all the protectors in place, estate planning on the work front, get all that sort of stuff. Then if I can achieve those goals, we want to do some renovations to our home, and I'd like to get my next car, Tim.
What sort of car are you looking for, Peter?
Look, I'll be looking for a Porsche 911 Turbo S. So,
nice, lovely.
Nice.
That's my plan for my next car.
An older one or a current model?
Looking for something not too old, I reckon. So, something sub 5 years, I reckon.
Fantastic.
But because they depreciate real quick when you initially buy them, but then hold their value pretty well after that. But on personal front, be that. But I think it'd be interesting the next 12 months. I think we'll start entering post-COVID. I think things might be a little less chaotic for all of us accountants. Without hopefully not having to constantly jump around at new things coming out. Hopefully this lockdown that sees half the country in a lockdown right now, that's kind of sees the tail end of it as more and more people get vaccinated. I think that'd be really good. And I think there's a lot of opportunity here for us accountants out there to really help clients. So, yeah.
100%. I agree with you. Well, what's those cartoons you've got in your background, Peter?
That's Batman.
Batman. I love Batman.
Yeah, Batman's my favorite.
Yeah, I actually use that quite a bit in a few different things. So fantastic. It's interesting seeing. I saw Singapore's now going to. We're just going to live with COVID.
Yeah, well, I think Florida sort of started that element, and that sort of really struck a chord there. But look, I think it's just going to be interesting. You just can't pick it, because I'm not sure our health. I think it's funny how we all look up to all these health officials who've generally, most of them haven't been doctors or whatever. They've been in a bureaucracy for a long time, and can you imagine that we just sit back and laud the Commissioner of Taxation because whatever he says is true and correct and stuff like that. It's just it's anathema to our convict past, I think. But anyway, we'll see what happens. What about you, Tim? I mean, you're going to have a pretty big 12 months, no doubt.
Yeah, well, look, I heard this expression a number of years ago, and I love it. A lot of people aim at nothing and they hit it with alarming accuracy.
Yeah.
And I think it's so true. And I tell my clients that because we need to have something to aim at. Otherwise, we just, yeah. And that's, I think, probably the problem with a lot of accountants, that they don't realise in their businesses their true potential, because they're reactive. They're letting the clients tell them, what price they should charge and when they're going to be paid and all that. No, put the big boy pants on, everyone. Tell your clients what they need to pay you. Tell them they need to pay you up front. Be proud of your advice. So from my perspective in our accounting business, I like to grow it again by, say, another 20% this year, and just kind of ease out some of the clients that are the time wasters. We were just talking with one of my accountants this morning about a client we're going to fire, and just create a bit of a vacuum so we can suck in the clients of the type that we want. So we'll look at that. We've got close to 500 member accounting firms in Change GPS. We'd like to get 1,000 firms in 12 months' time. And, I want every Lightyear Docs firm to be a GPS member and vice versa. So I want to work closely with you and Michael and make certain we can grow, because the combination is great. I mean, it's the documents that you've got, the front end that we can use to explain it and to monetize it. I think if every accountant around Australia was using those, they would make a lot more money and their clients would be so much better protected. So that sort of thing. From a life perspective, I've just picked up a new car, so I'm happy with that. I'll be driving that around a fair bit. But we have every school holidays we go away, so we just keep booking the Sofitel up at Noosa. I've booked it for the next 4 holidays. Hopefully we'll be up there on Saturday, but we'll see what happens. No overseas travel for a while. I'll just wait and see how things settle down. But the big thing is Savannah, my daughter's going to high school next year, grade 7, so I want to look back at this time next year, and she's had a good first 6 months, good report card, enjoying it. And obviously Lyndall, myself and Savannah just enjoying the ups and downs of life, but hopefully more ups than downs, and staying happy as a family, and just enjoying every day, enjoying the coffee, enjoying the bottle of red in the evenings, and enjoying the friendship with our friends. And as Grant alluded to, I mean, there is a bit of a higher purpose behind everything that we do. And I think whether that's God, religion, whatever anyone here is listening believes in, have a look at that bigger picture and, why are we here? Where are we going in life? And make certain that we are doing things that are positive and are happy and give us fulfillment.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, definitely. I mean, I've got a big focus on, and it's going to be great working alongside Change GPS and growing our membership base at Lightyear Docs. And we certainly want to be targeting the next 12 months at 1,000, 1,500 members, and we're doing a lot in relation to our distribution, but obviously our product. Once we have this great, I think we've got an amazing product now, amazing documents now, but once we have this new platform, it's going to allow us to take it to the next level. And we are getting significant demand over the last probably 2 months. Has been a great uptick, hasn't there, in sales, Grant, which have been new sales, which has been fantastic. But certainly I want to bring value to our shareholders as well. We've done a final, should be a final capital raise, which closes today. Has been very successful. I think I've probably got 50,000 left before I hit the maximum. So, which has been great. So we really just wanted to hit that minimum, and it's been fantastic, the support we've been given. And I want to put that value back to our shareholders as well now. So we want to keep growing that, and I think it's just that whole value story for me: value to shareholders of Lightyear's, value to my clients, value to myself and my life and my family. But and certainly I want to continue to grow ILA and get its presence. We did a soft launch on ESOPs and employee share plans. We've won an Australian Accounting Award, and we'll continue rolling those out. We've done a few over the last couple of months, and we've been continuing to build traction in relation to that. One that we just finished with one of the Lightyear Docs and Change GPS members. She just contacted me again this morning, said I've got another client ready to go now, so which is fantastic. So I think we can continue rolling those out and adding value there as well.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And I think that's great too, because it actually provides another succession opportunity too for clients.
I know. Don't worry. I'm going to be cracking a nice bottle of red tonight. It's been a long year, although I'm probably just busy tomorrow. But I know it's a bugger. You can't go out for a nice big lunch. Some of the ones I've had In fact, before we go off, we should actually ask everyone, because we've all been around for a long time, what was the best 30 June dinner or function you've ever been to? So Mick, I'll start off with you.
Well, I mean, there's been a few. I mean, there's probably a bit foggy memories on some of them, but certainly we had a very solid one when I worked for a hedge fund, and we went out in the harbour in Sydney, and we started, I think around the Rose Bay area, and I remember sitting next to my CEO, and he had his boat moored there at Rose Bay, and after several bottles of wine, I convinced him it'd be a good idea to go out in the harbour and take the team out in the harbour, and said, look, I can drive the boat. And we got down there, and he went back to the office and got some more alcohol, and he said he'd given me a description. I had about 15 staff with me at the stage, and I of his boat, and I was down, and I was taking off the cover of this boat and everything, sending photos, and I said, Spence, we're ready. Where are you? And he said, mate, that's not my boat. We quickly jumped off that. Then he arrived. I then said, mate, I don't think I'm in any condition to drive your boat today. And so he drove, and the US Marines were in, and we actually went too close to the boat and got in a lot of trouble. We got asked to move away from their space, and we had people partying on the boat that could have been all over the Fin Review, this ASX listed company. But our sales team, one guy almost went off the front of the boat. It was quite. I'll tell you what, I did feel very sick the next day and felt like I was still in the boat, and the motion of the water moving, it wasn't great. So it's probably one of the bigger ones.
What about you, Tim? You would have had a couple of big ones.
Well, I'll tell you what we're doing first of all today. Like, we normally would have drinks in the office on 30th of June, and then we arrange an end of financial year party, 30 June party, but after 30 June. So it's actually arranged for the 18th of July, but we might have to push it back. We'll see what happens with lockdown, see what anaesthesia does. But so that 30th June party, which we'll have on 18th of July, that's when we all dress up, and everyone brings their spouses or partners along. And so this year we'll have 40, 50 people there, and we just pay for really nice food, drinks. We have a few speeches, and then we have trivia night. So we got rounds of trivia, and people ring, Visa cards with money on them, or they win nice bottles of red, or they win chocolate or whatever. So that's a very, big thing. And Susie Banks, who's worked with me for about 28 years, she always gets on the phone and cheats. So we always call her out for that and trivia. It's a little bit of fun. And then at the end of the year, we have our team interview party where we give them a bonus, and they've got to spend it an hour and we catch up. But today, because we're all away, we've sent everyone in Edible Blooms a big gift box, and everyone got to choose whether like champagne or red wine or white wine, or some don't drink alcohol, so they've got some extra healthy stuff. And so that was shipped out all in the last 2 days. They've all got them at their homes. 4:30 this afternoon, we've got a meeting on Microsoft Teams. We're going to have a little party, a few speeches. We'll have some breakout rooms from 4:30 to 5. We'll drink our champagne or red or white wine, and we'll just have a bit of a chat at the end of the year, just a bit of fun with the team. A few funny stories, a few best on grounds, worst on grounds, all that sort of stuff.
Perfect. Mr. Marmara-Stewart.
There was one that I had with a few other accounts around mid-July. We ended up going out for like an 8-course dinner and went pretty late. That one was pretty good. I can't remember it all, but for us this year, we have a dispersed team, kind of very modern these days, right? To not even actually have your team in the office. So, but we're actually catching up next Tuesday to actually, have a, catch up actually physically in person, which we haven't been able to do as a team being in Victoria. We went to do it, at the beginning of the month and couldn't. So just even doing that is a bit of a thing at the moment. So looking to do that, and we'll donuts. We've been keep trying to get these specialized donuts that are just down the road from our office. But every time we go to catch up, it's closed because of lockdown and that. So that's what we're really looking forward to, is these specialized gourmet donuts.
Nice. And you have to tell everyone that you're actually setting up a Schnitty's in you're buying.
Yeah. So working on trying to get it.
So,
Yeah, look, if I can have that in the next 12 months, that'd be really good. So,
What's that you're doing?
trying to get a schnitz up and going.
Okay, awesome. Yeah.
Sorry?
Yeah, well, that's awesome.
Yeah. Well, I was complaining about we didn't have one where I am, so I'm like, oh well, I better just do it myself.
Regional Victoria can't beat a schnitty, so
yeah, that's right.
I know it's funny actually. One of my top New Year's Eves, in fact, a couple of times I've been to 41 restaurant. I don't know if many of you have been to that in Sydney. It's now permanently closed, but that was a fantastic view. And for those who remember, you go to the toilets there. It was just wall to wall glass, and look, it was just it was an amazing restaurant. I had a couple of times there. It was always a go-to for 30 June. But just going back to what all of us are saying is that. Now we've got staff in Manila, we've got teams over in Vietnam, it's a completely different world we're going in, and clients now out of COVID, one of the good things about it is, they don't mind jumping in on Zooms to do things, etc. So that demographic, or that, how we used to just work in our own little community is still really important, but we can also do big things outside our community, which is fantastic. So that's a great one for us. So that's my sort of 30 June, but I think it's going to be a very quiet one today.
Yeah, it's amazing it's amazing all the little things now with COVID and stuff, that, like Peter said about donuts and getting to go out as a team, and things that we used to take for granted, and now they feel so special. I mean, even going down to Sydny the other week for the awards and getting dressed up in the penguin suit, it's something they haven't done for so long, and getting out and mingling with people, it just was wonderful. So
yeah, I know. I was thinking the other day, I can't remember the last ball I went to. I used to love going to balls. I haven't been to one for God's sake.
I bet you'd be a great dancer, Grand Abbott.
Absolutely. Well, a DJ, dancer, the whole thing. So watch out.
All right, guys. We've sort of gone over time again there, but I think it's been a wonderful session today. I've really enjoyed the banter and the chat, and it'd be great to do a lot more of these. So, and it's good to hear what everyone's thoughts on the financial year and where we're headed and stuff. So thanks, Tim. Thanks, Peter. Thanks, Grant. Thanks everyone
Michael.
for listening in.
Thanks for everyone turning up.
Good to see you, Grant.
Okay, bye.
Good to see everyone. Bye.